Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. So today I have my laptop out. That means it's a stats day. So a year ago, not a year ago today, but a year ago about this time, I posted a video for anyone who's only found the channel in the last year, which is probably most of you, to be fair, or have kind of joined more recently, subscribed more recently. You won't have watched that video from a year ago. Probably you can't be bothered to go back and watch it either. I wouldn't if it was me. So I'll just give you a quick summary at the beginning just to say what that was about. So the whole premise was that I drive a 55-mile journey from Peterborough to Dunstable when I'm going to work in the company's head office, and then back again at the end of the day. I do this journey 2 or 3 times a week. I do it all year. So when people are out there talking about how much efficiency drop there is on an EV, or how much less range you get in winter, and so on and so forth, I thought, well, I can look into that. I mean, this whole idea of this channel is not to be pro EV or anti EV or push EVs on people. It's about trying to see what the reality is. It's about looking at my life with this Kia EV6. What is the reality? What actually happens? So I decided, perfect, I've got this journey, it's 55 miles, it's A1, A421 by Bedford, M1 down towards Luton sort of direction. It involves a few kind of slow 30-mile-an-hour start roads, a few at the end, some 70-mile-an-hour kind of motorway stuff. It's a whole mix of stuff, but quite a typical kind of longish distance journey. I do it, as I say, winter, summer, in between. So I thought, well, if I keep everything as consistent as I can, so I always drive it in eco mode, I always have the aircon on set to 21 degrees, which for me is the most kind of, if I'm going to keep it consistent, that's the one I want it at. And I always drive to the speed limits, cruise control at 70, cruise control at 50 where it reduces to that speed through Buckden and so on. Obviously slower when there's queuing traffic. There are some queues. There's queues at Black Cat Roundabout, there's queues during the M1. My journey in the morning generally is slower, takes longer. Journey in the afternoon generally a bit quicker. Morning temperatures are more cooler than afternoon temperatures, so I recorded those separately as well. I recorded my mornings separately to my afternoons, put it all in this spreadsheet. So what was I recording? So I recorded the distance as per car scanner, just to be sure that I've got the distance for every journey. I recorded the starting and ending percentage on the battery so that I could work out how much battery was used by percentage. I recorded the remaining energy at the beginning and end of the journey, so I can work out as a difference how much energy was used in kilowatt hours, or in watt hours as displayed on car scanner. I recorded the lowest temperature of any cell during the journey, so that's the lowest, the low effectively, and the opposite, which is the high. So the highest cell at any high point during the journey. Taking those two values, I recorded the most average. So basically to give me an average value for the battery. I'm sure there's probably some more scientific way of doing it, but that's the one I did and it seems to work fine. Also recorded on car scanner the outside temperature throughout the journey, and then car scanner gives me the average for that, so I've got the average outside temperature. So if the battery is particularly high from preheating the car in the morning, or from charging overnight or something like that, then the outside temperature and the average battery temperature may be a bit different. So I decided to record those. The average outside temperature I haven't recorded for the whole year. I only realised halfway through the year that would be a good idea, so I haven't got as much data on that one. From all that data, I've created a column in my spreadsheet where I've calculated the efficiency. So taking the difference between the start and end remaining energy value in watt hours, I can work out how much was used. Taking the value for the distance travelled, then I can work out from those two what the miles per kilowatt hour is. So I've done that as well. Now that value is quite different to the one you see on the dashboard. I've done a video on that as well. It was kind of a, why is the efficiency value different on the dashboard to what I calculate in car scanner? On that video I didn't come to get to the bottom of it. I think now I may have that one, so look out for a video in future where I go back and rejig and re-look at that one and throw some more numbers around and come to a conclusion as to why it's different and so on. We can discuss that another time. So basically that is what my efficiency drive is all about. I've recorded all that information onto my spreadsheet that I have here, and I have plotted some graphs, because of course what's the use of having lots and lots of data points if you don't create graphs, because graphs are where it's all at, isn't it? So on screen now, assuming that I've not messed up somewhere in the post-recording production, you should now see my outbound graph by date. So this is a graph of all that, well, it's the graph of the calculated efficiency and the battery temperature and the outside temperature all overlaid with an x-axis of date. So it goes from June last year to June this year, and it has 3 plots on the graph, one for the calculated efficiency, and the other 2 are temperatures, one outside temperature average and the other battery temperature average. So battery temperature in blue, outside temperature in yellow, and the efficiency in red. Now, as you'd expect, winter and summer, autumn and spring in the UK, we don't get a smooth chart. It's not always warm in summer, it's not always cold in winter. You can get hot winter days and cool summer days, so there's a lot of spikiness. It does spike and then spike down here and then spike up there as you go from summer to winter to summer again as you'd expect. So I have put a trend line in, a polynomial to, I think, for the order of 4 or something, to try and map a trend line that matches that, and that matches pretty well. I think you'll probably agree. You can see that in the summer it's high and in the winter it's low, and you can kind of see on the efficiency side, the efficiency of course being the red, that it gets down to around 3.5 ish in the winter, and we're looking up at 4.2, 4.3 ish in the summer. So I think we've got a range between 3.5 and 4.2 for efficiency. Now, if you're an EV driver and you just look at your dashboard efficiency, that value will tend much lower. So this is my efficiency I'm calculating from my spreadsheet values from Car Scanner, and it does trend higher. So if you're thinking, oh, I never get anywhere near 4.2, well, that's probably because you're looking at the dashboard value. It's, yeah, as I say, another video for that later. But what we can see is there is a difference there between 4.2 in summer and 3.5 in winter. We're losing about 0.7. What's that as a percentage? Offhand here I can't tell you, but hopefully in the production I will do some calculations and that should be on screen now. It seems to me reasonable. It's not like in winter I have to do anything different. The total journey there and back takes about 40% of my battery. If it takes 45% in winter and 38% in summer, what do I care? It's still perfectly manageable, no problem. So for a journey like this, as long as you've got home charging, makes no difference really. So that's the outbound graph. I also have let's go across, we have the return graph. So the return graph should now be on screen. You'll notice that that's difference. There's kind of about 3.7 is the low and 4.5 is the high. As I say, when I return in the evening or afternoon, it's generally a bit warmer. I get better efficiency on the way home. Although I noticed when I had my previous petrol car, I also had better efficiency on the way home from work than I had on the way to work. I think there is a prevailing wind effect as well. So that is also something that can't be ignored. If the wind is generally in one direction, then you will get more efficiency in that direction. There is also a slight difference in elevation between where I live and where I work slightly higher, but I can't imagine that it's that significant that there's going to be a downhill effect on the way home. I mean, it's there, but I would think it's so minor that you can ignore that. So those are the graphs by date. I also decided that as well as graphing by date, I would also think that it would be better, or just as good or interesting, let's say, to do efficiency versus battery temperature as a scatter plot with a linear line, if a linear line fits, or best fit line. So that's what I've got here. So this is battery temperature, or average battery temperature for that journey, across the x-axis, and the calculated efficiency up the y-axis, scatter across. So this is not related to the date, this graph, in any way. So this just shows me at various different battery temperatures what is the efficiency likely to be. Now this is quite useful as a graph potentially for future. So if I say, well, what's the difference if I change from eco mode to sport mode? I do a whole load of journeys in sport mode, stick those on this plot as a different series in a different color, see where they scatter. Do they all scatter below the graph? Is it definitely less efficient to drive in sport mode? Do they scatter amongst the rest, in which case makes a difference? Again, I could say change from regen mode 1, which is what I've done all these journeys in. I might not have mentioned that at the beginning. Done all these journeys in regen mode 1. If I change to regen mode 3 or auto or iPedal, how does that affect efficiency in this journey? Plot them on that graph. Are they outliers? Are they above or below that graph? Are they just in amongst the data, and therefore it's kind of statistically irrelevant? So this should help that. I've got this same graph there for the outward journey and there for the return journey, and as you can see, there is a spread. Obviously some days at a given temperature will be more efficient than others, so just because it's at a given temperature doesn't mean I get a very specific efficiency. It may be that at 15 degrees one day I'm into the wind on that journey, on the 15 degrees on another day I'm tailwind on that journey because of the weather, or it's raining or it's not raining, or I hit traffic or I didn't hit traffic. There's various different parameters, I'm not sure that's the right word, variables, that's what I was after, various different variables that will also affect it, which is why you get a scatter around a line. What you will notice quite nicely on that graph though is that on the left side, at the low end of the temperature, all the values are a lot lower than those that are right on the right side. So temperature, again, it does affect your journey. You will see that. I'm not going to deny, as I say at the beginning, I'm not pushing EVs on anybody. I'm not pro. Well, I'm pro because I quite like them and this has been a good experience for so far, but I'm not kind of trying to tell people they must own an EV if that's not what they want. It is quite apparent that temperature does affect the efficiency, but then again, that's true of a petrol car. I always got better petrol fuel economy when I was driving in a nice sunny day, up to a certain temperature at least. So that's what I wanted to show you. I think there's a lot of food for thought there. Hopefully it's interesting to you. It's something that I've put together for my own purposes, but I'm happy to share it all. So let me know what you think. Add some of your comments down in the comments if you want to talk about it, if you want to discuss it, if you're impressed with the data, if it's what you thought it would be, if it's different to what you thought it would be, all that sort of stuff. If you are happy and like what I'm doing, then please subscribe. If you like this video, then like it. If you don't like the video, then don't like it. If you don't want to, do whatever you want. That's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll speak to you next time. Thank you for watching.